So, I've been pretending to be my brother while he's running the basketball. So I can make the team and beat Flannel.
Hi, how are you guys?
My brother came home early, and that's what and that's like the first half.
Hi everyone, feel free to ask questions or ask for advice on anything, or if you have any like specific topics you want me to talk about, let me know.
Alright, so everybody understand?
Hi guys, hi Betty. Thank you for the likes, guys. It helps boost me out to people. Hi everyone. How is everyone this evening? Ooh, my dogs are playing. Don't mind any background noise. Good job, Bowie. Okay, he's like flinging stuff around. Good job. I feel like I'm missing things. Am I? Did I like leave them? Confused. I'm confusing myself as always. Am I? Hi everyone, how are you? I don't know where. BRB, I'm grabbing some. I think they were in my. Oh wait, I have these. Hold on, where's? I got my pens. Oh, my flags. That's all I'm missing. Hi guys, how is everyone this evening? Let me know if you have any questions. I'm just going to be highlighting and preparing for some stuff. Oops. I found them. I was looking for my book flags because I'm going to read through some books. If anyone wants book recommendations by chance, these are some of my faves, and I'm reading them because I'm trying to like write out my story a little bit more, and these are like good references for me. This one's really good. It's like a bunch of like little like mini like stories, or I guess like essays, I guess. And it's called What My Mother and I Don't Talk About. There's also a What My Father and I Don't Talk About. I haven't gotten that yet, but same thing. It's just a bunch of different writers submitted like stories about like kind of complex like generational trauma, and it's really good. This is like my top favorite book. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Really great book with dealing with like grief and like estrangement, and just like the complex emotions that come with growing older with abusive parents. And then she also has OCD, and this really hit home for me because I have OCD as well. This is The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. Yeah, Frankie. And I didn't know much of the story when it was happening. Of course, feel free to drop any questions. I'm happy to answer questions. Sherry Frankie, I don't know if anyone here would know, but she was a child of a family vlogger. And I didn't really follow the story much, but when this stuff came out about like her siblings and stuff and her parents getting in trouble, I started kind of getting into it. And then when she released her book, I read it, and it really matches kind of the emotions I felt leaving my siblings behind when I went to college. And I really liked it a lot. Yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to drop them. Happy to answer. Apparently the strange parents on TikTok hate this book, but I love this book. It's adult children of emotionally immature parents. And I already have some stuff highlighted in here, but it's It's one of my faves, and I need to read through it more. Does anyone have any questions? Nothing is off limits. I'm very open. I talk a lot about like hoarding, OCD. I just got diagnosed with ADHD. That's fine. How is everyone? Is everyone having a good week? At least. Let's see. I think I'm going to read through this. Hi everyone. Hi Leah. Haven't talked to you in a bit. How are you? If anyone has questions, feel free to drop them. Doing really good. Oh, thank you. This light's kind of hurting me. I'm gonna turn it down. Sorry if that makes things bad. Oh wait, that's kind of okay. It's like hurting my eyes. Ugh.
I think you are amazing. And I'm not ashamed of it.
How is everyone? Does anyone have any questions? This is the book, by the way. If anyone's in here, please go repost and save some of my recent posts. For some reason, they're starting to age restrict me again, which I don't know. Yeah, they do, but honestly, the reason I came to TikTok is because my local town doesn't care. Like, I went up against like my municipality, the mayor of my town. I emailed like state of New Jersey, every news company, and all the videos I have. What else? Oh yeah, like I sent like a letter with like exhibits showing all the pictures, testimonies from like customers and stuff of my parents, and sent it all to like the Better Business Bureau, the state police, etc. They don't seem to care. And honestly, right now, it's just also an overwhelming issue in general. Like, animal welfare is struggling all around because shelters are overran and full because of people like my parents going so long ungoverned. Like, backyard breeders have contributed a lot to overcrowded shelters. And now it's like, even if they get in trouble, like, where are the animals gonna go, you know? So it's like hard to get people to enforce stuff, because also in my state, like, there's been issues with like rescues losing their contract with the state and animal control, and they can't enforce things. And honestly, it's like everyone on TikTok cares. I'm 30, but like, no, like, people in my hometown, it's also kind of like a very small farm town, and a lot of people there excuse it because they think that, like, thank you so much, because they think that like my parents act similar to them, and that's what I'm upset about, like farm life, which isn't that. It's obviously that my parents were animal hoarders. I'm currently no contact, which was not a choice of my own, because I got to a point a year or two ago where I couldn't like visit the home. Oh, thank you so much. Or be around my parents because it would trigger me and the animals and everything. And I kind of realized that like my hopes were crushed that my parents would get better, because all the time growing up they'd be like, it's your fault, like we wouldn't be like this if we didn't have kids. Very common hoarder parent phrase or abusive parent phrase. But then once I like moved out of the house and had been out for so long, it just kept getting worse, and the animal hoarding kept getting worse. And it's because I was the one who kind of was able to, I guess, keep my parents more in check growing up and like do things to like help mitigate things. So once I was gone for so long, things just kept getting worse. I tried to have a reasonable like conversation with them, like adult to adult. I even gave so much more grace than like most people would think they deserve for animal and child abuse. And pretty much was like, I understand you love me and you did the best of your ability. However, like I need accountability like for the harm in order to move on. Oh, thank you for the follow, especially when it comes to the animals, because it was still on, like a lot of people are like, get over it, move on with stuff like this. And yeah, my dad is definitely a narcissist, and even along with like the hoarding and stuff, I think that's definitely one of the bigger traumas is like, I mean, hoarding I think in general comes with like a level of narcissism, maybe because of like the delusion they have to not take responsibility for it. And so like that's pretty much like what I guess I was getting to with my parents, is I confronted them and gave so much grace, and all I wanted was for them to stop harming animals, and said like, please, I offered, and people are like, oh, help them, like you're so evil for not helping your mentally ill parents. And it's like, I have offered years and years of time, money, resources, just for it to go back to how it was. Like it's kind of like the similar type of vibe, I guess, like how people approach addicts. Like you can't force them to get clean. Like every time you just throw an addict into rehab, if they're not ready to stop, it's just gonna keep going. And like it's not a child's responsibility to front money, especially when it's like I'm fronting thousands of dollars for the medical neglect and all of these other effects from their neglect of me. Like that's kind of where I'm like, where do people want the cycle to end? Like I'm meant to keep pouring back into the parents who neglected me, and I'm like even like traumatizing myself, like having to like make up for like how they neglected me. Yeah. And like I've realized a lot between posting. Oh, thank you so much. You're definitely not alone. I started posting kind of consistently about it in like February of this year. And even then, like I wasn't really posting being like, people are going to relate. Like I was posting, you know, trauma dumping as one does on TikTok, like not thinking it would get attention, whatever. Like I was just trying to have an outlet for like these big emotions I was facing with like going up against my father and trying to get his backyard breeding shut down. That like I started trauma dumping here, and I started getting like floods of comments saying like same, and people talking about like the fleas and other things that I thought were very specific traumas to me that I would never find anyone to relate to. So it really is, it's like bittersweet. Like I'm so happy to have people to relate to, but also at the same time I'm like, wow, I hate that like so many other kids have had parents that have like failed them to this degree. Oh, of course. Thank you. Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff. I have like playlists and stuff up. I post a lot. Sorry. But yeah, like I just love getting the awareness out there. And I kind of have learned that, you know, I may be ahead of people in ways of like, it's no fix. It's no like, I don't really think there's an end, honestly, to healing like this. But I've really done a lot of work breaking like the shame and guilt cycles of like putting the burden of like shame and guilt like back onto my adult parents who had control of the environment, rather than like we all tend to, like what I've noticed between all like the comments I get is like we feel like the burden of shame and guilt for all of our parents. Hey, sorry, my cats are fighting each other. 1 second. Piper, Lennon. Sorry, my cats bicker sometimes. Anyways, but yeah, like parents like that teach very black and white thinking. So it's like there's always worse, like things could be worse, or like I did the best I could, so it's like you can't be upset. Honestly, I don't think we hit it well, if I'm honest. At least like growing up. I grew up in a very small town, like 100 kids in my graduating class. Thank you so much for the follow. So it was kind of hard to hide it, because once it was kind of out in middle school, like we were made fun of it for the rest of our like school days. So, but I would say like between me and my other siblings, I definitely tried to, you know, fit into like social norms earlier. Like even though we didn't always have access to water and showers and things like that, I did my best to try and like brush my teeth with a bottle of water, like put on perfume, things like that, and like do the best I could to like be normal and such. And then once I got to like college, I talked about it, but like not much. And honestly, I don't think like anyone from college would have known where I came from unless I told them. And even like still to this day. Yeah, I had a lot of teachers in my small town who even joined in with the bullies to bully me and my siblings. I only really had 1 or 2 teachers that ever like pulled me and my siblings aside and seemed to care, honestly, which was pretty sad. That's honest. Like I always say, like, yeah, like the grief of my parents is one thing, but now that I've grown up and I'm an adult, there's like another layer of grief of being like, what the heck? Like so many adults failed me, because there's no way I would witness like the things that I have being done to a child and like continue being friends with that person, support that person over the defenseless child, like bully the child. Like I used to think like, oh, like with kids, yes, like when it was like the younger kids and stuff like bullying us, like yeah, like most people do just bully for things being weird. So it's like these people smell, they can't understand why when you're a kid, like why do these kids not shower, take care of themselves? Like they can't fathom or have the concept of like child neglect and things like that. So it's like that I can now rationally see as like, you know, I wouldn't necessarily like it's like a bigger thing. Like I don't necessarily blame young kids as much bullying us, but now I blame so much like the safe adults who are bullying us, because like they knew what child neglect was, like they had awareness, they were grown adults and should have known to like reach out to help rather than like make things worse, if that makes sense. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for all the likes and everything. And if anyone's new here, I'm a CPTSD survivor from hoarding, and I'm here to answer any questions. Yeah, we had a shower special day. We had to boil water. What else? My hair, like growing up, like I actually, like everyone loves my hair and compliments it, but like growing up it was like my worst feature, because I have a lot of hair on my head. It's very frizzy if it's not taken care of. And like I could rarely, if ever, like wash my hair. My hair was always knotted and sweaty and like just like disgusting, and you could never ever like take care of it well with the way that things were. It was not very fun. Of course, thank you so much for saying that, Kayla. You're welcome here. If you ever need someone to talk to, my DMs are always open for people to chat, ask advice, ask questions, whatever. Yep, same. People are like, at least I have had some people be like, at least you had a home. Some people don't have that. And it's like, it's very naive to say that, because anyone who's lived through or can at least like rationalize or conceptualize like the type of childhoods we have would know that like the walls and the roof mean nothing, because they were crumbling, they were filled with mice, mold, ammonia, like completely unsafe, like completely hazardous conditions. And a lot of like things that hoarder homes have, especially in those late stages, matches that of abandoned houses. Oh, yeah, very much the same. I am very much the same. I actually have relationship OCD. I don't know if you know what that is, but even when I have like healthy, happy relationships or friendships, I am like constantly obsessing and having intrusive thoughts, thinking like, what if this person doesn't actually like me? What if I don't actually like this person? What if I do something wrong and they hate me forever? Like things like that, which I've definitely linked back to my narcissist parents, or just also witnessing like a DV and very unstable relationship between my parents growing up. So now it's like I've been in a very stable relationship, very stable like friendships for a while now, and I still like struggle with that stability, like, and acceptance with like relationships, if that makes sense. Yeah, ours, my parents' home used to have carpet, and then the carpet got ruined from like the animal hoarding and like puppies in the home and dogs shitting and pissing, because there was never ever a housebroken animal in my home. I didn't even know what that was, honestly, for so long, which is so odd. And then the carpet would get pulled up, and then it would be down to like the hardwood, and then the hardwood would be pulled up. Now my house in like my childhood house is mostly down to like subflooring in most of the rooms. Honestly, I've like switched, I feel like. I'm definitely more anxious than avoidant. I'm very anxious. I would say like it is like a very deep psychological disorder, and then I have OCD, and a lot of people who have hoarding disorder, like it stems from like an OCD type thing. So like, for example, someone may experience like a loss or like the loss of a loved one, deep grief, and then in order to kind of have control over those like heavy grief emotions, they maybe develop like intrusive thoughts. For example, like, I have to keep this item because it's like the last charger my loved one touched before they passed away. So nonsensical, but they kind of like develop thoughts like that, and things like that. So that's definitely a way hoarders can develop, you know, their disorder. But with my parents, I believe it was more of a control thing. My father's a narcissist, so I fully believe it was like, let me see how far I can like push, and like, I don't know, it's a weird control manipulation tactic for my parents, honestly. Yes, I feel very much the same, and it like waxes and wanes of like, oh, I really want to be around, and then other times I'm like very isolating, if that makes sense. For my people in here, I always tell people in my live, super secret, but I'm going on a podcast soon, so I'm trying to like prepare to like tell my story in long form, and it's nerve-wracking. And it's like, I know I did good on that like one story time I have pinned, but like that was only for a few minutes. Like, it's really hard to like sit down and be like, here is everything. Be nice to your toy, Lennon. How is everyone? Is anyone having a good week? I may hop off in like 5-10 minutes because I have to do some chores and organize. Yeah, my mom was pretty affectionate, honestly. My mom was like overly affectionate in some ways. And my mom used me specifically as like an emotional dumping ground. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I always say peace is something that is very hard to achieve when we come from situations like this, but the main tip I say is like to give yourself grace. You're carrying so much that's always not really ours to carry. So give yourself grace each day. Be like, you know, I deserve grace. I deserve empathy for myself, because we often don't practice that.
Why is this all happening?
I'm happy to meet a bunch of people like me. It's amazing. And like, we deserve it, honestly. Like, some people are like, shut up. And it's like, I will never shut up about this, because 20 plus years, like, I was bullied, silenced, isolated because of it. And meanwhile, like, my parents post all online, like, all the pictures I've posted, people are like, stop posting this. It's like, my parents have posted this picture of me a million times, and no one has ever commented, what the frick is up with the background? Take better care of your kids. So it's like, I can post it now with my perspective all I want, especially because there's way too many parents out there that think that this is okay. Yep, I had to go to the emergency room for that once. And I have OCD a lot around the bugs, like the roaches and the fleas. So like the roaches getting in me at night, or like being in my food. I have like a food, I don't know if it really would constitute as an eating disorder, but I can be very restrictive with eating, and it's also like very OCD themed, because I can like think that there's like bugs or other like contaminants and stuff in my food, or it's rotten when it's not. Like, I literally will show my boyfriend something, be like, does this smell rotten to you? Like, I'm smelling it. Like, it's literally like a delusion, kind of like hallucination thing, kind of from like the CPTSD or like the OCD of being like, yep. And yeah, same. Like, I, for a while, especially throughout college, I used to like not eat and like, or even get hunger cues until like 4 to 6 p.m. at night, because that was the only time I ate really as a child. My mom would feed us dinner if she had food and like whatever at the time, but that was like it. Like, provided. Like, we weren't fed breakfast, lunch, and oftentimes I talk about this. I actually need to make a story time about this, because it was definitely a big trauma, and I assume a lot of kids like me dealt with it, even aside from hoarding, just like poverty. Our like school had like free student lunches, but then other times didn't. Like, it was weird. So, and then my parents also at times like made a lot of money, so it's like they had no money, but it's because they would impulsively spend on bad things and like hoarding. Like, they literally would buy things and bring them in the home all the time that they didn't need to spend money on. Besides the point, so when my parents were making money enough to the point that like we had to pay for school lunches, they would get to a point of like not paying off the lunch bill, where we would like literally get to the point of like paying for our lunch, and they would make us like dump it and throw it out in front of like everyone, and we wouldn't be allowed to eat for the day because our parents didn't pay up the lunch bill. And then it's like, oh, well, go home, tell your parents. No, if we went home and told them, they'd scream at us, yell at us, call us ungrateful, make us feel bad for like bringing it up to them, like crazy. Yeah, we always had like brown, discolored, like yellow brown water from like rust, and I used to always like obsess over like what else would be in there. I'm growing like a pimple under my nose. It's really annoying. TMI. Thank you so much for the likes, Nina. If anyone has questions, let me know. Yeah, I'm going on a podcast, and I'm just like so worried I'm gonna like miss important things to talk about. But I feel like the main thing is just, I guess, like the background. And then like I always say, like the main thing I get a lot in my comments is like the social isolation. Yeah, we celebrated it, but like this is like a thing with like my siblings, my parents. Like, I was definitely the favorite golden child in a lot of ways, because I made them look the best to the public. Weird. But so it's like they would treat me the best definitely on like my birthday, and like kind of ignored my brothers, which completely unfair to them. And then Christmas happened, but was always kind of, and then like a big trauma for me around Christmas was my parents would often tell us, so like with the animal hoarding and the puppies, around that time was when my father would really try and like get a lot of puppies out and about. to make money off of, and he would tell us, like, if you don't help us sell all the puppies, we won't have money for Christmas presents. Fun stuff. And that's like definitely one of like the biggest things I look back on and like have grief and regret on, because I didn't know what I was doing as a kid, but like I would help promote and try and be like, who wants to buy puppies? Who wants to buy puppies? And it's like I was promoting my father's horrible backyard breeding and abuse of animals. But yeah. Oh, the boyfriend from like high school? No. So when I got removed from CPS in high school, I went to live with my boyfriend at the time, but one of my traumas is he was actually, I knew he was cheating on me, but he was literally my only way out of the house at the time. So I pretty much like forced myself to live with him. And he was like my brother's best friend for forever, but so it's like we stayed friendly and friends for a while after, but yeah, not together anymore, thankfully. That's a good question. Honestly, I say like it's important to like allow yourself the waves of emotion in a way. Like it's not always going to like, same thing with life, like it's not always going to be like peace with healing. And with me, I have found that like not allowing the like anger to like come out in a healthy way, obviously, makes like me simmer, you know, in like the bad place longer. I feel like I achieve peace more now by like in a way like accepting like the anger as it happens and like finding a way to deal with it. So honestly, like making TikToks and stuff, advocating for animals is kind of like the way I deal with it, because it's like I have a lot of like anger and grief and resentment towards like the animal hoarding and the stuff that's going on there still, that like that's kind of where I channel it for me, if that makes sense. And then I'm gonna be visiting Italy in a few months. Hello. But yeah, like to manage the rage, I always say like find like a healthy way to let it out. I feel like that, in my opinion, is the best way to deal with it and kind of like release it and then move on back into kind of like your peaceful state. Yeah, I would say or in ways like I've kind of switched out of, so it's 8:42 p.m. and no, I live with my current partner and all my animal children. And I would say like I would say actually like in an interesting way, I'm in like this very healed state. Like I have a lot of triggers and stuff like that, but it's actually been one of the hardest parts of my healing, is reaching kind of this more consistent stability, safety, like peace era, because it feels so like oh wow, it's late. It feels so foreign, I guess, to feel safe, and it's hard to allow yourself to sit in it and just be once you achieve peace. I mean, for me at least. I'm not sure how everyone is, but now that I've kind of achieved this, like, you know, non-survival mode, it's hard for me to not try and force myself back into that space, if that makes sense. Talking about it helps, though, I think, to take me out of kind of that, like constantly worked up survival mode. Like finding spaces and outlets, whatever they be for you. Oh yeah, I'm traveling in a few months. It's my first European trip, which is like literally always been a dream of mine. And yeah, so like I think I might document it a little bit, because obviously like, and I also do want, like, if anyone comes from similar backgrounds like me, like traveling was always a big dream for me, but I thought it was so unachievable because it is expensive. But I found such great ways to like travel cheap, and you know, just, and I prioritize it honestly. because it means a lot to me to like travel and see the world, because that was like little Summer's dream. So it's kind of something I do for her. But yeah, I'm going to Ireland and then a few other like European places, and I'm really excited. Nervous, but excited.
Their way of shutting us down.
Does anyone have any questions?
Hey, Joanne, just FYI, that refrigerator that's stuck to your fridge. Actually, that's a version. I did that. It's so.
Yeah. So my father's like famous phrases were, "This is just a typical farmhouse." And then meanwhile, like I grew up riding horses, so like I had other friends, you know, that had farms. And like my second mom growing up was my horse riding coach, and I would always stay at her house, and I loved it there because it was clean. And like, yeah, it would be dirty from like farm life, like dirty boots everywhere, like maybe some mud tracked in from the dogs, but like that's completely different from obviously like the state of like a stage 4 to 5 animal hoarder home. My father would always say that. When we would literally be starving from him not feeding us, he would be like a common phrase I think a lot of toxic parents like this use is like, "They're starving kids in Africa, like be grateful." And it's like, well, yeah, like of course I feel bad for that as well, but I am also starving. Two things can be true at one time, people. Like I am starving and they are also starving. And then also, like, in order to kind of like influence me and my siblings not to reach out for help, we also were told like people in foster care have it worse, like other parents are way more abusive, etc., etc. Like if you go to foster care, like you'll face worse abuse. Oh, thank you so much, Kelsey. I love you. Happy Taylor Swift release. Woo! Any other Swifties? I'm a little obsessed. On Taylor Swift's albums mean a lot to me because a lot of her music, especially the Tortured Poets department, it came out right when I was like going no contact and like standing up against my parents. So like Who's Afraid of Little Old Me was like my anthem at that time, and I always feel like obviously she has a lot of fans and her music is meant for a lot of people, but I swear every time she releases an album I'm like, is she like viewing my life? Because like it always is like what I need at the moment. So the fact that her next album has a song called Eldest Daughter, I just know it's going to be my favorite. Sorry, this just turned into a Taylor Swift live for a little bit. And also I'm kind of excited for like orange themed merch. I know that people don't like orange, but I like it. Sue me. But yeah. Oh, also, this is my vinyl record frame I got into my record. Because I have a lot of vinyls. Yeah, we're taking orange back. I don't know if you were part of this era, but I very vividly remember the era in like middle school or high school where it was like orange is the new pink. And like orange and pink were like together everywhere. And I vibe with that. And also like the glitter gel pen theory. I love glitter gel pens. I actually literally bought some the other day. So again, Taylor Swift is literally a fly on the wall in my life. Oops, sorry. TikTok, don't get mad at me. They are scissors and I am an adult who is experienced with scissors. Oh my god, you had horses bought, so like, I loved, wait, if you live in New Jersey, I literally know people with the same last name as you. It'd be funny if we lived near each other. But, yeah, I literally tell my parents, when I went forward, like, against my parents, my father was like, there's no proof. And I'm like, there is literally dead horses buried in your yard, and I know exactly where, from starvation. And like, it was crazy because obviously a lot of people downplayed my abuse at the time or other things. They're like, she looks happy, she's showing horses, she's doing this, she's doing that. And meanwhile, it's like the horses that would, you know, were for, same with me. I always say it's like very synonymous with how I was treated kind of the best in comparison to my siblings, the horses or animals that were more forward facing were treated the best. My parents had a lot of animals, but the ones that they would show to people when they would come over to view puppies and stuff would be the best looking animals, the best fed, the best taken care of. The horses I took to horse shows and that were out in the public around people, the best taken care of. But then meanwhile, there was like hundreds of animals like passing away, starving, getting sick. Like my father sold hundreds of animals with fleas, worms, heart murmurs, like all of this crazy stuff. And like meanwhile, like everyone downplays it 'cause it's like, that can't be happening when you have horses. Like that can't be happening when this, that, and the other. And that's why it's like I'll always have wild empathy, because it's like I very much am well aware that you truly never ever know what's like happening in someone's life. Yeah, we had like I think we had like 15 to 20 at one point. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Luna. I love that name. And along with that, it was like they would always get loose. I don't know if this happened to you as well, but I literally have so much trauma from being woken up in the middle of the night because our horses would get loose, and I would have to like chase them down. Crazy. But yeah, we had so many horses, so many dogs. Last year when I went forward against my father, he had 13 at minimum adult dogs, multiple litters of puppies, who knows how many cats and kittens, multiple birds, an emu, a llama, or an alpaca maybe? Something like that. Tons of chickens, tons of ducks, tons of bunnies. Like, it's a zoo. He doesn't even get paid for it. Like, dang. Crazy. But yeah. So many animals. And honestly, like, I don't know if the other people in here can relate, but like, I truly did not and it's one of those things that like, one of those realizations that just like hits you hard once it finally, like, you allow yourself to realize it. What? Let me know how you got that accomplished. I mean, honestly, I feel like it's unfortunately one of those things where it's like, my father is doing things that are against statutes, against these things, but like, he's protected politically in my hometown. And I don't know, like, in small towns, like, they just don't, they're like, not my business. And I'm like, it is, because hundreds of you in this town are like supporting him. Thank you so much. But yeah, it's like, by the time I got to college, I mean, our neighbors and stuff called all the time. My parents' dogs would get loose all the time because they were illegally tethered. Like, there's literally, the animal control officer has been like telling me she's been trying to get them to enforce stuff for like all of my life. So when I went forward last year, I literally, and like, mind you, all the stuff I post, I have limitless pictures, limitless like things. Like, he's even doing fraudulent sales because he goes to the if you're not familiar, in PA there's, you know, the Amish, and the Amish are very much known around my parts for having a large stake in puppy mill breeding. So like, my father would go there and I would go with him so a lot of times, so I witness. He would go and buy full litters of puppies from the Amish for like $200 a piece. So like, obviously not well vetted, well maintained. And then he would bring them home and flip them and register them under the AKC, under dogs he had, or even sometimes he would register them under dogs that had passed away, etc. And then would flip them for like a larger profit, sell them for like $900, $1,100, and be like, AKC registered, vet and health and genetic tested, when none of that was true. And he's done that for 20 plus years. And like, the fact that I mean, like, people have like said stuff over the years, but what's crazy is like, people would message me because my father would block them. They would message me attacking me like during middle school and high school and stuff, and being like, your parents sold me a dog, it's sick, blah blah blah, it's covered in fleas, yada yada yada. And it's like we still, even then, me and my brothers like carried the brunt and the weight of like the shame for his actions, and still to this day they still don't hold him responsible. And I'm actually thinking of posting it, and I just really would need a lot of support, because if that flops, I literally will want to cry. But It's pretty long. Maybe I'll put it on YouTube, but I literally recorded the municipal meeting, which is legal. I recorded the municipal meeting where I stood up for them, and I even have all of the records because I did an OPRA, which is an open public records request, and got all of the records from like the last few years, and it's literally the zoning officer admitting that he didn't like issue violations when he should have, and he didn't do his job correctly. And in the municipal meeting, it was literally them being like, whose job is it to enforce? We don't know what to do. Like, we're flipping idiots. And it's like, and like still, they don't do anything. There's like admins in this like local page, and they like have been allowing my father to like post puppies in there for sale for like years. And like some of the pictures I post on here, like the background where it literally looks clearly atrocious, he posts them there and people are like, heart, cute puppy, I want one. And it's like, that's also why I felt so crazy for so long, because obviously like I grew up and always felt wrong. Like my body was telling me this is an unsafe space, like in my home, like not cool here. Like, it didn't feel right how they treated the animals, but then at the same time, I was like, but everyone else around me is acting like it's normal. Like, people still buy puppies from him. Like, Spud, stop eating plastic. My one cat likes to eat plastic. He's trying to come. But yeah, it's like, are you, like, kidding? Like, so many people have supported him. And then literally, so when I went forward publicly last year, that's why sometimes when I get hate comments, I'm like, it's either estranged parents or it's like freaking supporters of my parents that have bought dogs from them and feel defensive for being dumb and buying dogs from someone like that, or just being a horrible person. Because sorry, you're a horrible person if you've bought a dog from my dad, because you will want to claim that they don't know. But the videos and pictures and stuff I post of the home, they literally go there. They walk in that living room. They walk in that dining room with that fireplace from that picture I post. And then they purchase the puppy. They see the animals there. And then they purchase the dog. And like, yeah, like I've definitely known people to just like purchase it to get it out of there. Sure, whatever. But like, to the people that claim that not know, and then to go even further to like attack me and be like, you're a horrible, miserable person for doing this to your father. My dog's happy and healthy that I got from him. And it's like, okay, great, but I've got tons of reports from vets that they have heart murmurs, they're unhealthy, they have worms, lethargic, other things. Like, and it's like also just like, who cares? Like, congrats, you have a healthy dog out of the hundreds that he sold. I'm his daughter, and I'm talking about hundreds of cases of animal neglect and cruelty. And like, people don't care because they got a healthy dog. Or and it's more of like they just benefit because they wouldn't actually be able to spend the money to get a well-bred dog, or like a whatever dog. They can only afford a $200 dog from someone like my father. Hi, bestie. Yeah, that's the same way I am. And actually, I don't know if you know this, Kayla, but I've learned through posting that I'm maybe in the minority of like children from situations like me where I actually have animals. A lot of kids like us go the opposite, and even if they like animals, they're like, I can't live with them, it's too triggering, like they're too dirty and stuff like that. So I'm definitely grateful to have been the other way. But also in ways I think I'm like that because I kind of got forced into having animals, because I like got most of mine from my parents to save them. Which I wonder how often that also happens for kids like us. Because I like had way too many animals than I could financially take care of, because I knew that that was a better situation than them living with my parents. Hey guys, how's everyone? I might pop off in just a little bit, just because I have a few more things to do. But if anyone is popping on or is new and hasn't been here since I last said this, please, if you don't mind, go and like, repost, save, whatever, a few of my more recent posts, just because TikTok's trying to like age restrict me again, which then like doesn't send my stuff out to actually the population that needs it, which is like the young kids like me who come to me for support and come to our community for support. But yeah, I am really grateful for like the community we've built here. Like, I have made so many mutuals, I've made so many friends, and like I love like the friends I have like outside of this, obviously, but like truly I had felt so alone, because even like my bestest of friends, like it's hard to like relate to someone on certain like these things. Obviously they're very niche, I guess, so having people to relate to and talk to about these things is like very healing, very cathartic, and so I love being able to be that for you guys as well. I might jump off now-ish. Does anyone have any? Might jump off now-ish. Does anyone have any other questions before I hop off for the evening, guys? My cat is staring at me weird. Don't attack me, dude. Alrighty guys, I am going to hop off. If anybody needs any, I don't know if that paused, sorry. But yeah, my DMs are open if anyone needs anything or wants advice or has a question they want me to answer. Just let me know. I hope everyone has a good night and a safe rest of your week. Bye guys.